So, my name is Tyler Gobran, and I'm going to present our knowledge portal application. So this is the initial page. It just has basically some general information that the client is going to put. So some introduction text and then some disclaimer text. So we're going to click I understand and proceed. And now here we are at the main application view. So we have a list of articles essentially. We can search by title. We can search by their description as well. We can filter articles based on topic and say, okay, we only want gender articles, bam. Oh, we only want a certain age range, so on and so forth. Kind of just work from there. So beyond that, then we can also take a look at one of the articles. So if you look at this article, we have body. This is actually Markdown supported, so you can add images and whatnot. So if you go to another one, there we go. We can see that an image is supported. You have links, everything like that. As well, you see title at the top as well. You have a view of references. You click the reference, it will travel a link to that reference so that you can actually reference things in the articles themselves. Going along, we have a map to kind of view all the different surface locations related to sexual health. Similar thing, we can essentially say, okay, take a look at my given geolocation, and it'll pop you to it. You can also filter by specific locations. You can say, I only want clinics, and they'll only show clinics. And you have this little thing right here, which will actually show the closest nearby locations that you filtered for. So we have it like this. You'll see that this will change as we move along the map. You click on one of the icons, it will move to it. You click on the icon itself, it will show some information, and you can get Google Maps directions by clicking on this, and they'll then transition the user to that. Going forward, we have the chat panel. So the chat panel is quite simple. We basically just have a list of open chat rooms. We'll have a little description for the expert that you want to be chatting with. If you have a really common question, you want to check out the FAQ, so you just go here. Oh, okay, here's some of the FAQ questions. We can upvote them if we find one particularly useful. Otherwise, we can just kind of leave it as is. So if we have a chat, we can just kind of enter in from here. So we just click on the button to enter into the chat. Okay, now we can see the chat. We can say hi, and expert can respond or not, because I'm both user and expert. I can't respond to myself at the moment, but I'll show the other side in a bit. And then we can just exit out if we're done with the chat. Going along, we have this panel of videos. We can click a video right there to watch it. You can filter by specific topics. And yeah, we can just kind of just move along, and it'll just kind of shift between them. And then finally, we have the quiz functionality. So you can essentially start a quiz. You'll be like, okay, I'm doing a sexuality quiz. This shows me my current status. I start the quiz. What makes a bad question? Well, I would say probably poor wording. There we go, that's correct. What makes a good question? You know what? Good question is really long and irrelevant. So I'm going to say relevance. Oh, no, that's incorrect. And so as you can see as well, we have some little description of the actual kind of question, giving some more details about what the correct answer might be. And you go further, you see you get the quiz results screen. You show the quiz results. Okay, it's red because I didn't actually complete it correctly. And then you have some further info here that will display further stuff. And then we go back and we can actually see that our score on the quiz has updated. Now let's try and do it correctly. Let's say, what makes a bad question? Poor wording. What makes a good question? Relevancy. There we go. We've completed the quiz correctly. We go back and it's updated like that. Finally, if we look here, we have the expert side of things. So the expert side of things, you just access from a specific URL to go /expert. You then enter your username and password and log in. Okay, now I'm logged in. I can look at myself and say I'm Tyler, my bio is expert. There we go. And I can start a chat room. And now this is going to open up another tab. It's going to break responsive time for a second, but I'll fix that. So now we've opened the chat room. You can say, okay, now we're going to essentially be chatting with users. So it works all well and good. No user is connected at the moment though. So what we're going to do is actually going to connect a user by going back. We're going to join into that room. We go back to the chat room. We say, oh, user entered. We say hi. And now we can check back, and they say hi, and now we can say, hello, I'm a user. And now we go back to the view, we'll say, oh, hello, I'm a user. There we go. So now we can see, okay, what if the user leaves? They leave, and we see the update, and it just removes the chat, and the user has left. And so that's the expert side of the app. Okay, so this is the administration page for the knowledge portal. As you can see on here, we have all the different kind of sources of information that we use for the application. So if we go here to something like articles, we can see a list of the articles by their title, their creation date. So we can kind of modify the categories directly from here. The nice thing with Django is that you can actually add new objects because each category and article topic are models themselves, so you can just add them from here. Beyond that, if we go in to actually edit it, we can see the general format of it all. We can enter in your text here or your markdown, whatever you want. You just move available references to chosen references if you want to reference. You can obviously easily add an article like this. Now just going through, we have the general format, quite simple. Most of them is just text forms. For the experts, we have a kind of special thing where essentially you tie it to an actual user object in Django because the user objects are handled by Django itself. So you would just create the user object with the admin, essentially like login and password, And then you go to the experts, you say, I want a new expert, and you then connect it to a user like that. Overall, it's quite simple in design. You have the FAQ entries where you basically say, okay, I want a new FAQ, I enter the question, I enter the answer, and I add user votes. Or like a quiz, you say, okay, I want a new quiz, you enter the title, quiz description, and then you just select the questions that you want from there. Similar thing with references, and service locations are nice in that you can basically just enter an address. As long as it's a valid Google Maps address, it will enter and display on Google Maps, which is nice. And then videos will actually verify that the video is it's an actual valid URL for YouTube to connect to, so that just adds an extra amount of checking. And so overall, this is the administrator page for our application.